Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to step on the ice for some Biscuits and Penalties. I'm Cobra, and I am joined by Cat on the ice. Ben will be here shortly. We may have a stop in from Newt City. Say hello, Cat.
Hey, sports fans,
All
how's it going?
right. Well, we're doing good. We're doing good. For those of you who don't know, we have definitely been doing a lot of shorts on our YouTube channel and TikTok while it's still alive. Barely. But let's save that for another time because it's time for some hockey. And before we get to the NHL, a little bit of sad local news in where Ben and I live. In the state of Delaware, Harrington's ice rink. It was home to the Delaware Thunder in the not ECHL, but it was like the U.S. Hockey League. It was like a semi-pro league. I think it wasn't U.S. It wasn't U.S. It was like SMHL, I think. But the Delaware. It used to be the home of the Delaware Thunder. Then they left town like a couple years ago. I've skated on that ice. I've played pickup during the COVID years. It was my first time stepping on ice in goalie gear. I had a fun time. I made my first glove save. In that it was fun. But unfortunately, the ice rink is closing after 20 years.
Oh man,
it sucks, and I think the main reason why is I personally think that that the place I used to work, Harrington Casino, is probably going to get sold to a casino conglomerate like Dover did to Bally's. But that's a little local news. Let's get to the NHL because Utah, the Utah Hockey Club.
Is that actually their name?
It's currently their name because they're because I'm getting to it. They have a bit of a trademark dispute because they unfortunately lost a trademark war.
Boy.
They were actually.
That was the thing.
Yes, it is. But they put in a bid because it seemed like they were playing their hand a little bit that they were going to be called the Utah YETI or Utah Yetis. Well, guess what? They lost to a cup.
Oh no!
Yes. The trademark was denied for Utah Yeti or Utah Yetis due to brand confusion.
That's crazy.
Basically saying that the American public would be too stupid to differentiate Utah Yeti from Yeti, the cup brand. So, I mean, you elect Pumpkin Spice Palpatine. Of course we're going to be pretty fucking stupid. But let's not get to that.
So it's just the Utah Hockey Club
for now. Until next year. If next year the Mormons decide, you know what, we're going to be Utah Hockey Club forever and remainder of the time, I'm going to drop kick the puppy.
Because that doesn't happen then.
Because let me say this openly, and I've said this openly, and I'm pretty sure you agree. Teams need an identity. Yeah,
sure.
It's what you slip on the jersey for. Whether it be baseball, whether it be football, whether it be, and I mean both versions of football. And do know we have some foreign listeners here. Both versions of football and soccer, cricket. Whatever you play. Even if it's dodgeball, you have to slip on a t-shirt. You slip on a t-shirt with a matching color and it has a logo on it. Guess what? That is your identity. That is your team.
Right.
Going out to hockey club on it is so milquetoast uninspired that I'm sorry. I just,
We're the hockey club, guys.
Yeah, we're the hockey club. Hip
I
hip
mean, it sounds like you're 8
hooray!
years old
Yeah,
and your pond froze over for 2 weeks in the winter.
yeah. It's like and if you were a kid, and you're playing pond hockey, and like, yeah, we're gonna be Utah Hockey Club. They'll be
Yep.
laughed off the ice. Like, seriously, I think it's stupid. Kat, weigh in on this.
I I completely agree, actually. I think they're pretty low in the standings from what I can tell. Um and I mean, history plays such a huge role in every sport you play. How the team feels in the locker room, how they gel together during practices. Um, and I can almost guarantee you those guys were not excited to put on, Utah Hockey Club jerseys when
The only good thing about the jerseys of the Utah Hockey Club is they have, because they're blue, white, they're blue, white, and powder blue. Okay, got the navy blue, the white, and the powder blue. Which,
okay,
as a person whose high school were those colors, I can attest it's a clean color combination.
yeah, that sounds
So
really
again,
nice, actually.
it's it's not like the jersey idea is there. As Alex and I have said, if they could keep the colors and get an identity, it'd be pretty solid. I mean, the
Well, and
Seattle Crack.
here's the other thing that kind of concerns me about the fact that they can't find a name. Um, isn't there talk of the NHL expanding within the next like 5 years?
Yes, actually. And it probably will happen when Gary Bettman steps down, and he is planning to step down after 2 years. That
Okay,
was another thing I was
so
gonna get into.
if we can't find a name for the Utah Hockey Club, what next? We're gonna have the Baltimore Hockey Club. We're gonna have the
Yeah,
Louisville Hockey Club.
yeah. It sets a negative precedent. It
It
sets a
does.
negative precedent. I mean, and guess what? And the people I have to blame, I blame the commies. I blame the Washington Commanders because
I blame them for a lot.
they had the Washington football team for so long,
Yeah,
and for like all because Dan Snyder was so petty about the Washington Redacteds.
I'll say it.
Yep.
Washington Redskins. I
All right, and just like that, we got canceled. Ah.
Not by the people
I had to
who
make that
not by
joke.
the people who started the
I had to make
petition.
the joke. I had to make the joke. I had to
I
make the joke.
know. I
I'm
know.
making a joke. Um, you know,
But still, the name means something. And even
yeah,
the Toronto Maple Leafs, like
yes.
they're known for their maple syrup. So yes, of course they're going to
Well,
go with
it
Maple Leafs.
maple syrup, maple trees,
Yeah,
the national flag of Canada.
exactly. Exactly.
Exactly. All right, but
Utah couldn't have
and
found something other than Yeti.
yeah, they floated around Blizzard. They floated around other things as well, like a couple others. Like
Well,
I said,
Dairy Queen has
I even
Blizzard.
suggested this. I even suggested the Sting, considering that Utah's the Beehive state. Uh, or hell,
Isn't
they could
isn't that a
hell.
isn't that a soccer team? The Sting?
Uh, I can't remember. But I mean, hey, it's better than the Utah doorbell ringing.
Yes. Yes, it is. You're
Utah
right.
doorbells. Utah doorbells.
Utah ding dongs.
Hey, it's a good idea. Utah bell towers or something like that.
Utah
Well,
Bells. That sounds like a
yeah, Utah
girls'
bells.
league team.
Yes, there we go. You're right on that. Anywho, um,
We're giving you
but
lots of ideas here, Utah.
yep, yep. Uh, there's a couple more things going on in the NHL before we get to the standings. Um, Probably biggest one in the race to break Wayne Gretzky's record.
I've been
The Great
following
Eight.
this.
Yep, the Great Eight. Alexander Ovechkin is now 20 goals away from tying Wayne Gretzky's regular season goal record.
You got to think that's in that guy's head every time he steps on the ice.
To
Every
be
time.
fair, let me say this openly, and I'm gonna interrupt you on that one. With as far as Ovechkin is concerned, I think, yes, the record's there, but it's like in the back corner of his mind.
You
It's
think?
more of, yes, considering Alex Ovechkin's character, yes.
Okay.
Because Ovechkin, his main focus is just stepping on the ice and scoring. Period.
I mean, that's fair. You have to have focus for that kind of thing. I have to
Yes.
say, when Cal Ripken Jr. was going after Lou Gehrig's streak, people asked him all the time in interviews, like, "Oh, what happens if this? And what happens if this?" And Cal was like, I am just showing up to my job, like every blue collar worker
There you
does.
go. There
Like,
you
I'm
go.
just showing up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I can totally wrap my head around that one.
You put the bologna and cheese sandwich in a pale lunchbox, and you put on the hard hat and you just go. That's it. That's all Ovechkin is doing. Because after all, what is the main goal of every NHL player when they step on the ice? It's not records. It's about the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. And a little bit more recent hockey news. This hasn't been reported on, but this has happened. It hasn't gotten national attention, but apparently, Patrick Waugh, coach of the New York Islanders, actually got into a fight with one of his players, I think.
What?
Yep.
Like during a game afterwards?
I think it was during a practice. I think this was during practice.
Oh my gosh.
Which, I mean, considering it's Patrick Waugh, I'm not surprised.
Well, considering it's New York, I'm not surprised.
But it's not that side of New York. It's Long Island.
Oh.
Anywho, you know
wow.
what? Let's get away from the round table, little hockey news. Let's get to the standings.
Yeah.
Because
You
of
start
course,
from the bottom or the top?
You know what? I gave the East top billing quite a few times. Let's start with the West Coast. Because gotta go with the West. Because in the Central Division, we're gonna start from the top. The best team in the NHL is the Winnipeg Jets. I think. No, wrong. I'm wrong. The best of the West is the Winnipeg Jets. 32, 14, and 3, 67 points. The Minnesota Wild, 28, 16, and 4, 60 points. The Dallas Stars, 29, 17, and 1, 59 points. The Colorado Avalanche, 28, 19, and 2, 58 points. The St. Louis Blues, 23, 22, and 4, 50 points. The Utah Hockey Club. See, even me saying it like that makes me cringe. It makes me cringe a little bit.
And I mean, some of the things that you're saying, like the Dallas Stars, really? Colorado Avalanche? The Blues?
Listen,
Come on.
the St. Louis Blues have been around since 1967. The Dallas Stars were originally the Minnesota North Stars.
Oh, okay.
And the Colorado Avalanche were a different take on what the Colorado Rockies.
Yeah, that makes sense. But
and they were also formerly known as the Quebec Nordiques.
I just think we could have made Yetis work for Utah. Their lawyer needs firing. Okay.
Well, if you want a person to blame the cup company. All right.
Yes.
Like I said, the Utah 21-19-7, 49 points. The Nashville Predators 18-22-7, 43 points. And in last place in the Central is the Chicago Blackhawks 15-28-4, 34 points.
Woo.
Then in the Pacific, we have the Vegas Golden Knights.
That is
30. What's up?
It's a really widespread for the points.
Yeah, pretty much. It looks like it's anyone's game in the Western Conference. Like I said, the Golden Knights are 30-14-4, 64 points. The Western Conference champions from last year, the Edmonton Oilers, 30-15-3, 63 points. Which, by the way, I should have mentioned this in the roundtable. Connor McDavid, aka Connor McJesus, has a 3-game suspension for a hit that he laid onto. Yep.
Also,
so Connor McJesus is out.
Aren't the Oilers also a basketball team?
No.
Okay.
They were a football team, but now they're the Titans. And back on track.
Okay. Carry on.
Yep. The LA Kings 26-14-5, 57 points. And by the way, there is an NBA team known as the Kings as well.
Yeah, we got lots of title infringement here.
Well, to be fair, the Sacramento Kings were originally known as the Buffalo Royals.
Oh, okay.
Yep, then they were the Cincinnati Royals, and then they went to Sacramento as the Kings.
I see.
Fun fact. Fun fact. I think there's also Kansas City Kings. Oh yeah, I forgot the Kansas City Kings. They were from Kansas City.
Jeez,
so yeah, so they were actually banking off of the Royals name. So there's that. Okay, back on track. The Calgary Flames, 23-16-7, 53 points. The Vancouver Canucks, 2017-10, 50 points. The Seattle Kraken, 21-25-3, 45 points. The Anaheim Ducks, 19-23-6, 44 points. And the San Jose Sharks, 14-31-6, 34 points. Ouch, yeah. The Sharks are definitely turning into chum on that one.
Very, very quickly.
And now the Eastern Conference with the Atlantic Division. The Toronto Maple Leafs, 30-17-2 for 62 points. By the way, they will be eliminated by the second round of the playoffs. Because that's always the norm. Toronto Maple Leafs don't want to admit it, but they are the norm. They're the Pittsburgh Steelers of the NHL.
I'm sorry. Do you root for them too?
No, I don't. I don't root for the Maple Leafs. First off, Cat. No. You know better. No. Bad. Even Yinzer's offended. Even the Yinzer's offended.
Oh, poor Yinzer.
I will get to you, Ratbird, in 1 minute.
Yeah. Carry on, Cobra.
Yeah. Anyhow, I had to kick the Yinzer out for a minute. The Florida Panthers, 28-18-3, 59 points. The Boston Bruins, 24-20-6, 54 points. The Tampa Bay Lightning, 25-18-3, 53 points. The Ottawa Senators, 24-20-4, 52 points. The Montreal Canadiens, second verse, same as the first, 24-20-4, 52 points. The Detroit Red Wings, 22-21-5, 49 points. And the Buffalo Sabres, 18-25-5, 41 points. And finally, the Metropolitan Division. The Washington Capitals, the best team in the NHL, 33-10-5, 71 points.
That's insane.
The Carolina Hurricanes, 30-16-3, 63 points. The New Jersey Devils, 27-17-6, 60 points. The Columbus Blue Jackets, 23-19-7, 53 points. The New York Rangers, 24-20-4, 52 points. The Philadelphia Flyers, 22-21-6, 50 points. The Pittsburgh Penguins, 20-22-8, 48 points. Thank you, Yenzer.
Yeah, thank
now
you.
go cry in the corner because Steelers not gone to Super Bowl. They should go to Super Bowl.
Yeah, shoulda, coulda, woulda. Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Shut.
Yes, I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, that's enough. All right, that's enough. That's enough, you tip. All right. And of course, finally rounding things off, the New York Islanders, 19-20-7, 45 points.
Okay, so I remember you explaining the point system.
Yes.
For a win, they get 2 points.
It's 2 points is a win. 2 points a win, no points for a loss. But if they get to overtime, they have 5 minutes to win. If they lose in overtime, they get 1 point. However, if it goes to a shootout, which again there must be a winner, the winner of the shootout gets the 2 points, and basically the shootout loss counts as an overtime loss. So that makes sense?
Yeah. So if they lose, they get 0 points. Like even if they're in overtime.
Yes. If they're in overtime and they lose, they get 1 point. But if it's in regulation, they don't get anything. Make sense? Makes sense.
I'm getting there.
Yep.
Slowly.
Yep. Hopefully when we get big, we'll be able to make that merch for you, Kat.
That would be amazing.
It will
That would be amazing.
We definitely would need to have an artist for that. We want a good artist, not AI, please.
No, that was weird.
We need to get to our games of the weekend.
Ooh, yes.
Because we definitely have a lot of them. Saturday, we have a lot. Obviously, you know the rule. 2 for Saturday and 1 for Sunday. So tomorrow has the Avalanche and Bruins, Sabres, Oilers, Penguins, Kraken, Kings, Blue Jackets, Stars, Blues, Flames, Wild, Devils, Canadians, Maple Leafs, Senators, Lightning, Red Wings, Hurricanes, Islanders, Capitals, Canucks, Panthers, Sharks, Predators, and Ducks. And Sunday, the Avalanche, Rangers, Utah, and Senators, Flames, Jets, Wild, Blackhawks, Panthers, Golden Knights. Kat?
Wow.
What 2 games are you excited? Are you going to watch?
Well, I'm going to try to watch. I kind of want to see the Red Wings play, so I think I'm going to go with the Lightning and the Red Wings.
Nice.
And the Capitals at the Canucks.
Nicely done. Nice. And for your
Saturday.
Sunday game.
Let's see. Maybe the Wild. I forget what city they are.
Minnesota
Wild and the Blackhawks.
Nice. Well, as for me, you know what? I'm going to go with the Kings and the Blue Jackets. Blue Jackets are playing for Johnny Gaudreau and the late Johnny Gaudreau, and they're surging. So let's see what they got.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to take a look at Hurricanes and Islanders. I think that the Hurricanes are under the radar. I think this is a good, even though the Islanders are kind of last in the Metropolitan, don't sleep on the Islanders. They're still dangerous. And on Sunday, I gotta go with the Battle of Mid here. Utah and Ottawa. Battle of Mid.
Yes. Yeah.
And yep. Well, that is unfortunately it for our podcast, which is brought to you by the great taste of Smackin' sunflower seeds. What?
Woohoo!
Yeah, Smackin' sunflower seeds. You know what? Ever since Smackin' has appeared on the Social Sports Pad Network's radar, they've not only have been great to us, but they are the number one viral sunflower seed on the market. They always have limited edition flavors out and about, and this month they have Dijon Ranch as a limited edition flavor.
Oh.
Yep. And of course, they have the variety pack ready out and about. And you know what's coming soon, Kat? Baseball season.
Yeah, it is.
So what goes good with baseball? Sunflower seeds.
Sunflower seeds.
Yep. So don't just take my word for it or Kat's word for it. Why don't you give them a shot? Give them a try. Use our affiliate link in the bio wherever you get your podcasts. Show the channel some love. Smack sunflower seed. All right. Yep, that is it for Biscuits and Penalties. We got some good stuff coming around the corner. Not gonna lie. We have the Lap Down and Dirt and Turf getting ready to go into season 2.
Super excited for Dirt and Turf.
Exactly. Exactly. Kat has been a consistent co-host on the Dirt and Turf podcast. But again, we're getting ready for that. The hard count, which is tomorrow night. We're getting ready. We're slowly wrapping that up because the Super Bowl is coming and about to close our season 3 on that. And of course, coming February 2nd, the Social Slam podcast makes its debut as it hits the ring. Our wrestling podcast, The Social Slam, will be February 2nd. I'm excited. I'll be joined by Alex, who is my co-host on Biscuits and Penalties, as well as Greg, who is the host of The Lap Down. So, again, be out on a listen for that, which, by the way, why don't you like and if you're on YouTube listening to us and you love what you hear, like and subscribe, click that notification bell, and please be out and listen and tell your friends about us. We do love you guys who listen. Anywho, of course we also have to thank our affiliates as well. Fanatics, W Energy, Sleeves.com, Dr. Squatch, Booba TV, Century PC, Duke Canada Supply Company, Raw Nutrition, Bulletproof Coffee, and of course, Smackin' Sunflower Seeds. All those links are in affiliates wherever you get your are in the bio wherever you get your podcasts. We're also on TikTok. We also make YouTube shorts. Everything is slowly coming together, guys. We look forward to seeing you guys later. But that's enough of my pandering. I'm Cobra. On behalf of Kat, It's time to step off the ice.